She is completely unexplainable. You think she's a good girl, but once you get to know her, you realize she's everything. She's crazy, she's funny, she's honest, and you never know what she'll do next.
Hey! Well, we're so happy you came back to see us. Shout out to my father. I'm not wearing red today, Dad, but I do have my tits showing, as you told me. They horrified my kids, but honestly, I get you, Dad. You want to see the V-neck tops. I'm working on it. I got to go shopping this week. But anyway, I also wanted to introduce Mark Menard, who's an amazing podcaster himself. Before we go into this interview with Mark, though, I want to tell you my Being Tracy Facebook page at www.facebook.com/Being Tracy, which this show is based on. I had 6 million reach on that page. I would have 44,000 followers. Please don't stop following me. I'm going to get the page back. I'm talking to Facebook every day. All right. They're tired of hearing from me. But as you remember, I had a YouTube video last year about how to get back your Instagram and Facebook. Last year, for 2 months, all my pages were taken down, Instagram and my 3 Facebook pages. So I know I can get this back. It's not that bad, but it is kind of bad that they're putting up pornographic pictures in my story. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but anyway, that's bad. I'm sorry
that was your dad.
It's offensive. No, it isn't my dad. My dad's even on Facebook. But anyway, I'm really sorry for the distress that this might be causing you. And hopefully by the time you see this podcast, it'll be back up and everything will be running fine. But if it isn't, please just hang with me. I've done this before. I know I can get it back. And it's going to be better than ever soon. So anyway, again, I'm here with Mark Menard. Mark is famous in my mind. He was referred to me by a common friend, and this person told me that he's an amazing podcaster. Well, now that I'm new on podcasting, I wanted to meet Mark and find out some tips he can teach me. I know he's got a lot of stuff going on. We met at his beautiful club there in his establishment, and I know he started out. He had a really rough start. He went through some really tough times that he's going to share with us, because I like to always share how my guests have gone through adversity and they come out shining, and what they may have done that have helped them through this. Right, Mark?
Sure. And thank you. It's an honor to be here. This whole setup is awesome.
Just so you know, Mark has, in 54 countries, Mark has reached people with 16 million downloads. Is that what it is?
Yeah, over the past 8 years, yeah.
He's an amazing.
I'm like a dinosaur in the podcast space. Started before like all the video and stuff.
And you have a happy family, what, 5 kids?
Yes, and we're done. Yep.
Done. That's enough.
We're
I was one of 6.
But 5's enough. Wow.
I had 4, one of 6, so I know what it's like to have a big family. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Yes. It's enough to have a basketball team, but
that's what everybody always said, because I had the 4 girls. Everybody was like, "Well, I had a cheerleading squad.
Yeah.
My girls were all cheerleaders."
Yeah, but it is crazy. Yeah, so I don't know if you want me to start. There's like where my adversity started, or
well, let's see. We were talking when we met. We had a 2-hour meeting. I had so much to talk to this guy about, and he has so much amazing information. I don't even know where we can start, but I know that you started from a really tough time you had, and somehow now you've got a thriving business in Ohio, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you want to tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah.
And so I would like, just tell us, how did you get started? How did you get your break? Tell us where you started.
I mean, my face broken started with me in jail. I guess if you want to just bring it back to when I was 17, pretty much to try to help summarize it, like I graduated early. I was living in a trailer park, doing all this stuff, selling drugs. Don't even know how I was still alive, but one day it was just like, boom. Like I woke up, like I fell on my body, and I didn't know where I was. I could like feel the cold cement under me, and I'm like, okay. I start looking around. There's this dude like laying next to me with this like giant beard. Like again, I'm only this like 17-year-old skinny kid. Then a police officer comes to the door and he's like, "Mr. Menard, step outside." I'm like, what? Like getting up. I realize like I'm in a police station. They go and they sit me down and they start taking my mug shots. And they're like, I still had no idea what happened. And as he starts taking them, kind of like the screen here, they had like the older computers, but my face pops up on it. And the whole left side is all like my eye was fractured, smashed in, my jaw had been fractured. And I'm like looking on the screen, like, who is that? I realized it was me. And I had just pretty much blacked out, driving out of my mind for like the 3 millionth time. Some dude that had this giant like cowboy dude that had prior like warrants out for his arrest for assault. He was like 36. The only thing I remember is I was parked behind him, like at a drive-through at a place called Wiener Schnitzel in California, late at night, or Colorado.
All right.
And in the witness report, it read like I rear-ended him, and then I just like was laid there like passed out in my front seat, and he just flung my door open and just like beat my face in like a punching bag.
Wow.
And I still was stuck, like you're talking about the change and all that, on like the victim mindset. Everything's against me. People are just born successful. I wasn't a straight A student.
Right.
I thought all of it was, you're just born with it. Those
Yeah.
are just the lucky ones. I still went into court. I mean, I'm trying to like summarize a lot of things up, but even going into court, I was like, okay, I'm going to show the judge this picture of my face all smashed in. They're going to have all this
They'll feel
sympathy on
sorry
me.
for you, yeah.
Yeah. Still the victim. None of it's my
Yeah.
fault, you know.
And you were how old? 17?
I had, so once the court and stuff started, I was 18, and I was dealing like drugs at the time too. I guess now weed's legal at most places, but back then it wasn't. And I even had a big bag, like an ounce of it broken into smaller ones, which would be a
gosh.
felony.
Yeah.
It was in my pocket when that guy beat the crap out of me, but when I woke up in jail, I didn't have it.
Right.
And I wasn't like asking the cops like, hey, where's my but and I still don't know to this day what happened to it. Like, I thank God, because that I would have been in prison for,
Right.
because then it was actually rolled into like proof that I was distributing it and selling. So anyway, when I went into court, the judge, first of all, like I went through my whole little spiel, like, I was 17, this guy beat me up. The judge is like, are you done?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. Oh, here, hang on. Here's another picture of my fractured jaw. And judge is like, okay. First of all, like, your blood alcohol was so high, you should have been dead. Like, when I read this on the report, the fact you're driving around and the judge is like, your little face got beat up. Like, imagine you would have smashed into a minivan and wiped out a family.
Yeah.
And I had prior stuff for other things with drinking. And the judge is like, forget about you.
Right.
And so they gave me at that time, like, I didn't end up having to do more jail time. They put me on probation. I lost my license for 2 years. I had to ride my bike, do breathalyzers, drug tests every other day. I had to do like an insane amount of community service, 2 therapy classes, 2 days a week. They gave me the maximum of everything, but then it got to where me being in all this trouble, like if I was to do anything else, they're like, we're not letting you off the hook next time, and you're over 18.
Right.
So going through that like whole period kind of like got me to gradually stop hanging out with some of the people I was with.
Well, there you go. You figured that out, right?
It was gradual, but I realized too that like I
matters who
I was
you're
going to end up
around.
dead or in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're both dead now too.
They say that you become the sum of the people you surround yourself with, right?
Yeah, so the 2 guys, like when my first book came out that I was living in the trailer with at that time, I remember I researched a while back, and one of them had 2 little girls and like overdosed off a bunch of painkillers and I think like whiskey, and the other one shot himself. So I would have been number 3.
Was that the reality check?
Well, no, that was after I had totally changed and got away. Like I hadn't been in touch with them for a long time, but when I wrote my first book, I was like, I wonder what happened to them, and then I found that out.
Wow.
And that's where I would have been. But no, this whole thing was the reality check. And it's like, it was a pretty long process, but that basically got me to start. I read my first book when I was 18. Like I used to do the bare minimum just to get a book report done.
Sure.
And I realized it was a Stephen King book. Like
And you grew up where? Ohio?
I was born in California, then lived in Colorado at that time. Later, Ohio was Dreamshine.
Okay.
But yeah, that's where I started like changing. It was like I'm literally gonna end up dead or in prison, and I started reading. It got me to be like, okay, maybe I can go to college. I remember telling some of my other friends, and they were like calling me a sellout. They're like, people like us don't go to college. You know, that's. And I
And who are
remember
these people?
thinking
the people
like
in jail? The people in jail you're listening
the ones
to?
that are both dead. Yeah. So I remember it's like I really remember thinking like, do people like us? Am I being a sellout? Like that's the people act like everything's just magical. Like this happened and I changed. You know, after that
You
it was
should see
all.
the community lives in now. I mean, I was there. We were in a restaurant. People were waiting on us. It was just an amazing place here in Boca Raton. He doesn't want to say the name, but I'm just going to say it's one of the top places you
I don't.
can live
It's
here.
just not my yeah, Boca Bridges it's called, but just not my address is all good.
Yeah. All right, I won't be giving your address.
And the studio's there too. But yeah, so I mean, then it led to years later of starting a company for people with special needs back in 2007. Then the recession hit. Once again, everyone's like, you shouldn't be starting a business. It's going to be impossible. I had to fight against like the governor of Ohio to open our company, Dreamshine. And then now, 17 years later, I'm an overnight success, like living in
Exactly.
that beautiful neighborhood. We serve over 65 individuals with disabilities, like 20,
That's
I
amazing.
think 25 employees, people on our team.
That's amazing.
We're getting ready to buy a property across the street where we can like quadruple in size.
Mm-hmm.
Couple of books and getting to be here on your show.
That's awesome. I'm so honored. That's wonderful. Well, now, so probably the Dreamshine came first, and then the podcast, right?
Right.
So tell me,
100%.
what is your message on the podcast? What is it called?
It's called Elevating Beyond with Mark Menard. And yeah, the podcast is totally
And
different.
this is Mark Menard.
Yeah. Like Dreamshine is for people with disabilities. The podcast came later, and I never wanted to speak. Like I had anxiety. I dropped speech class 3 times in college, and I still do speaking events. And people
That's
will be like, well,
amazing.
you don't get nervous. I'm like, I do all the time.
Right.
But I just don't allow it to stop me anymore.
Right.
And it's like a muscle, just like everything else. Like you
Uh-huh.
can grow it, you can practice it. But I have a whole other spiel I could go off on anxiety, how that coincides with creativity. So there's some good parts about it too, I've learned personally. But anyway, yeah, the show, so it started with me sharing my jail story the first time. And this was like 7 years into owning Dreamshine. And then I started just having different guests share like overcoming adversity to
Like
achieve
I want
success.
you to, right?
Yeah, just real conversations, whether it's, I mean, like NBA players, NFL players, like the director, some of the cast from like the show Breaking Bad. A lot of, I don't care that people are famous though. Like it's really just real life conversations about people like overcoming adversity, just how we're talking now.
Yeah. Well, you never know what people are going through. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
And so people can be going through the toughest time. And then if they choose to be happy, you're not even going to know, right? Because it's your choice. It's their choice.
Right.
But if they choose to be happy, they can be going through a super hard time. I mean, look at Robin Williams.
That's,
know?
yeah.
People like
That's
this,
sad.
So that's why I think shows like this, podcasts like this can be helping people to, hear someone like what you're going through. And that can help somebody.
And also like I would see me in my neighborhood and stuff now and be like, oh, it must be nice. He's just another dude that was just born with it all. So
Exactly.
I always think of like the younger me stuff that I wish someone would have said too, that like, no, like with all due respect, the straight A students work for me now. And I was
Right.
told that I was stupid and should drop out of high school.
Right, right. Well, so now tell me, where did your desire come that you wanted to reach people?
The show or the Dream Shine or
Both. Where did that desire come from in you?
Dream Shine is a longer, like it, I got into the field. I didn't have a clue what I was going to do after college, but I did know I wanted to do something with helping people. And I think from like feeling like I was the underdog, I've always been against like bullies and for the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
And I got into working in the field with people with disabilities in Ohio. But at the time, just like we were talking pre-show, it was horrible. All they had was like these institutions with fluorescent lights. They were really neglected. There'd be like 20 of them around a table. One staff would be like, here's crayons and a piece of paper. Like, don't bother me. And they would just read magazines and stuff.
Right.
This was like when people had iPhones and everything.
Right.
And there were still magazines, but it was getting into that and just seeing a need, like someone has to create something different.
Right.
So I started that on the side. My wife and I just got married, had 2 kids.
How old were you when you got married?
I was young, 26, 25 or 26.
How old was your wife?
She was 22 years older than me. 28.
Oh, she's older. I didn't meet her. I didn't get the pleasure of meeting your wife.
She's beautiful. She looks younger than me. But yeah. So anyway, like we started with nothing into anyone like doing a business and stuff. She was working the overnight shift. I was working in special ed and starting Dream Shine at the same time. We had both babies, the recession hit. And so when people are like, well, you don't get it, Mark, I can't start a business because blah, blah, blah. I'm like, kind of like that judge, like, well, that's nice. But anyway, let me tell you when I started, like, just like now, everyone told me it would be impossible. But obviously, like having a purpose of something that's bigger than you, knowing the people with disabilities needed something different, just pushed me to be like, no, I can't give up. And
you have a lot of people depending on you, don't you?
Yeah, it's really cool now to see it. Like we have a pirate ship building. The thing I was always like, we're going to make it like a resort, like Disney World, but for people with disabilities.
That's awesome.
And like I not only did I get laughed at, but they called me, like a lady next to the governor, and told me not to open Dream Shine because the state owned pretty much all their own programs. They're like, it's been this way for 30 some odd years. It's going to stay this way.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, what?
Well, that is awesome. Well, with that said, we have to get a jingle for when I'm going to read the blog, Ben. That's something we have to do. That's maybe for next week. We're going to get that.
Little sound effect.
And then I'm going to have like, what should I do when I'm going to read the blog? Should I go like this? Like,
you should
maybe
put on
I'll
your
read
glasses
the
or something.
I might put on my glasses. Then I won't be able to see the print here. Anyway, these are just all things that we're thinking about as we're coming together here in our podcast. But these blog passages, I realize that I'm not telling you where they're from. They're from a blog that I started years ago when I first moved to South Beach. And I told the story on one of the first podcasts, but they came about because I was sharing too much information on Facebook. And my family and my family business and my kids were all like, don't share so much. Don't share so much. And I was like, I want to share. I have a need to share. So I was like, I said to my people on Facebook, where can I share my message? And they said, you could write a blog. And then I started writing blogs. And then someone from the American Chiropractor Magazine, which is something that my family publishes, came out of the woodwork. He worked for an advertiser, and he said, hey, I can make you a blog page. And then he said, I'm going to have to come up with a social page that's going to feed off the blog page, and that's going to be called, we decided on my Facebook page, Being Tracy. So that's where this all came from. And so the blog is actually www.beingtracy.com, BEINGTRACY. Anyway, so this is one of the most recent ones I wrote because I after I moved from Miami, honestly, I don't even think I've written any blogs. Maybe one. Maybe the last one I read last week was from there, one of the first ones I read. But anyway, this one is one of the last ones I wrote, and I started like this. So this morning I woke up and thought, is it just me? This one's called The Gentleman. The gentleman, and there are 3 question marks after it. The gentleman? Last night, I walked to a happy hour nearby on the Miracle Mile. This is when I was living in Coral Gables, Miami. Shortly after, a gentleman friend came up and tapped me on the back, so I turned around, greeted, and made a space for him to sit next to me at the bar. I asked the guy next to me, who I'd been talking with, to move over for my gentleman friend to sit down. The gentleman friend is Serbian, so I'm always wondering if it's a language barrier or customs barrier that he doesn't appear to know how to treat a woman. I think, and I decided to call him Mr. Two Forks. I think Mr. Two Forks, as we'll call him, is super handsome. In fact, our first encounter was in December 2021 when I noticed a girlfriend of mine across the bar alone and signaled for her to come sit over on my side of the bar so we could sit and visit, because I was sitting where it was an open air behind me, outside is the street. It was real nice. And however, once she got to my side, this handsome Mr. Two Forks approached, and they locked eyes and seemed to have an instant connection, which I was a little bit like disappointed, because I kind of thought Mr. Two Forks was pretty handsome myself. I kind of thought we might have something, but whatever. My girlfriend, so I had never seen Mr. Two Forks before that. My girlfriend lives with a boyfriend, but as this didn't seem to matter, I just excused myself and walked home alone. The next day, I was told that this pair was seen kissing at the bar.
What's her name? I'm just joking.
She's living with her boyfriend.
I'm just
I didn't see him again until maybe February. Remember, that was in December. When I told him he looked familiar, and then he reminded me it was because I left him with my Cuban friend there. Because I hadn't seen her after that incident, I didn't immediately remember. After some recollection, I laughed and exclaimed, "Oh, yes, that's right. You were kissing her." "Well," I told him, "you won't be kissing me." Finally, I laughed and I told him, "You know she has a boyfriend." He responded, "Yes, I figured that when she didn't respond to my texts." Anyway, we finished our drinks there, each paid our checks, and then walked to another bar with live music, which is what you do on the Miracle Mile. Like I said, in Florida, we've got all these little pockets everywhere that you just can walk everywhere. And those are the places I love to live, because, you know, you can go from one fun place to the next. You don't have to get in the car and drive or anything like that. All right, so anyway, we finished our drinks there. Oh, I already said that. Okay, let me see. I keep losing my place. Anyway, we finished our drinks there, each paid our checks, and then walked to another bar with live music. That's what I just said. We danced, had one drink, which he paid, and then he drove me home because I was tired around 11 p.m. I don't stay out late. I'm an early to bed person, early up, early to bed. I gave him a quick kiss and hopped out of the car. I still don't know what he was expecting. However, after that, he was pretty cold to me a couple of times that we would run into each other. Following that evening,
I could tell you what he was expecting.
Then last night, Mr. Two Forks said it was because my phone kept buzzing and that I was tired, and so I went home. Guess he didn't believe that is where I went, but he dropped me off. Backing up to last weekend, I went to this same bar for happy hour to celebrate with a new real estate associate of mine who had just signed on with my Keller Williams Living Tracy team. Mr. Two Forks was standing there by an empty chair in a full bar. He moved over and motioned for me to sit there, and all the while was very attentive, even said that he'd like to take me to South Beaches, south of 5th, which is an area I frequented when I lived there, and I told him I'd love that. My associate friend said that he's really into you. Yet he never made any motion to offer me a drink, and while he'd invited me to South Beach, I thought, talk is cheap. I didn't really see that happening. The associate friend of mine, Courtney, that I arrived with and left, and my other girlfriend, Kat, arrived to visit. Mr. Two Forks grabbed me by the arm as though an expression not to leave, but then he went to the other side of the bar for what seemed like an extended amount of time, so my friend Kat and I also left. He texted me later, "Chicken, you're a chicken." The next day I responded. I waited till the next day. "I would love to spend time with you, but we didn't have any plans last night, did we?" Then the next morning he said he'd had a terrible hangover. Mr. Two Forks said he'd gone home right after I left, and today he was, quote, detoxing. He invited me to his pool, which was all he was going to do, or he said he could come over to my pool if I wanted him to. At first, I accepted his invitation, but then after more thought and speaking with my girlfriends about this, we decided that was not an appropriate invitation. It was recommended to me to wait until he felt better and then wait for an invitation outside of his building, which Courtney, who met him and said he was really into you, but that's just a, quote, sex invitation. What do you think?
I mean, I could sum it up for everyone listening to this. If you're thinking you're going to find the one in Miami Beach.
This was in Coral Gables in Miami.
Yeah, like the whole
much more
party
serious crop of people.
Yeah. I mean, I would say 99.99999% of the time.
Am I better off here in Boca now, would you say?
I mean, you can find anyone anywhere, but like the party scene and stuff, it's usually people that either have money, have wives, women. That it's Miami.
Yeah.
And that's cool if
Did
people
you live
enjoy
in Miami
that.
before?
No, but I've been all around and plenty of stuff too. I have people that I do a lot of business with and stuff. I have to choose who I keep in my inner circle or not.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I don't care.
That.
It's all good. But why was his name? You can
we're
find
gonna
love
get
in
there.
Miami.
I'm not finished with the blog.
Mr. 24. Okay.
You're gonna find out. So I declined, and the next day, text him to see if he felt better. Maybe we could do brunch, I suggested. His reply was that he was detoxing, so I went to brunch alone and met a nice man and woman, friends, they were friends, who invited me after brunch to go to Flanagan's to meet their other guy friend for a drink. Okay, that sounded like fun. This new guy picked up dinner for his girlfriend, took it home to her, and then met us all at the first guy's house in Coral Gables for a game of pool. It was very nice. They were very nice people. I love pool. As growing up, I would bring my dates home to play pool after we went out on the town of Leo, Indiana. And I'm quite good at pool, I might say, because I've done this many times. I used to take my dates out in Leo, Indiana. You know, not in Leo. We wouldn't stay in Leo. Our out would be Fort Wayne in Indiana.
That's where
so
that was like the Miami of Indiana.
Yeah, we would go to Fort Wayne, 20 minutes away. And then after the date, I'd be like, what are we going to do now? You know, so I'd be like, hey, you want to go back to my house and play pool? So then we go back to my house, we go downstairs, we play pool. Anyway, so sometimes I'm quite good and always competitive. Ha! Finally, around 6 to 6:30 p.m., I received a text message from Mr. Two Forks. He was at Booyah, where I had brunch, and wanted to know if I was still there. My response, why would I still be there? Anyway, so this guy, Mr. Two Forks, tapped me on the back last night. A few days later, I made space and he sat down, said he was hungry, asked if I'd eaten. I told him no, and I was curious to see what he'd do. Turned out he ordered himself a salad and asked for an extra fork so I could have some.
Mr. Two Forks.
In his defense, he was very generous because although I only had a couple of bites, he kept encouraging me to eat more. However, I had no desire to eat Mr. Two Forks salad because he had told me, obviously, he was hungry. While this was very nice, I noted that he hadn't really ordered me anything. I had 2 drinks on happy hour, then put out cash to pay the bill. Just then, Mr. Two Forks asked, why are you going to leave so soon? 45 minutes had passed since he'd put in his salad order, and he seemed to have trouble getting himself drinks. And because one of the bartenders working last night lives in my building, I had to keep intervening to get Mr. Two Forks served, as I seemed to get more response than he could get himself.
That's because everyone gets an automatic 20% tip in Miami too, so.
I don't think that. I'm trying to remember Booyah. I don't think they added 20%.
They don't have Booyah? It's not like Kiki on the whatever the heck.
I don't think they did.
See there, it's like we get 20% no matter what. So.
Well, I was a local. The bartender lived in my building, so... You know, and there was a very busy place, very busy bar. So.
And by the way, my wife and I we have fun going to Miami. I like being outside of it, not in the middle, but I'm always like that with any big city.
Right. Okay, so let's see. Just after
But there is a lot of douchebags there, but
right.
Anyway.
Right. Okay. So just after that, I put my cash on the bar to pay the bill. The manager came over and offered us each one more drink for our trouble on the house, and also later brought us a small plate of garlic shrimp. Super nice. And of course, I knew him, so that's why he was making sure we were both happy, right? This guy didn't really know him. He was new in town. Mr. Two Forks was happy I was going to stay. Asked me who I played pool with the other day when 8 hours after I'd invited him to Boolia for brunch, he showed up. I told him how I'd met the couple over brunch. Yes, there were two guys. Yada, yada, yada. The guy seemed jealous. Just then, came time for each of us to pay our bill. Mr. Two Forks offered to drive me home, but no attempt was made to reach for my bill. Even after his entire bill was comped by the restaurant and mine was $13, he threw out $20 and said that he doesn't take handouts. We left the restaurant together, and then once in the street, I told him not to worry about it, not to worry about taking me home. I love to walk, and we were just drinking buddies. That was it.
That's the end of Mr.
That
Two
was
Forks?
the end
No
of
more
Mr. Two
text or
Forks.
anything?
That was it. Done. He scored himself a blog with that. I was in total disbelief of this man seemingly courting me for so many months. It turned into months, and yet, I mean, like not reaching for a $13 bill and still wanting to take me home. Like, what do you think of that? And then I get him, get his whole thing comped because I keep asking for help, and then he doesn't even offer to pay for the bill. He doesn't, and because he doesn't take handouts.
I mean,
So
it's
I put
just
$13 down, and I was done.
Like, I don't
forget
care
it.
what
You're my
people
drinking
say,
buddy.
what generation you are. Like, man up, woman up. Like, be a man. Pay for your freaking date. And if you're with a woman that's like, ugh, people say like chivalry's dead, don't hold the door. I've never held a door open for a female and she's been like, how dare you? I've had some people in a rush and they don't say thank you or something, and I'm just kind of under my breath like, well, you're welcome, but don't stop holding doors open for women. Don't stop manning up
Being
and
a
paying.
gentleman.
At least, yeah, put
That's
some
why
effort
it's called
in,
gentleman.
for God's sake.
Question mark, question mark, question mark. You know, I've been talking to women lately that are like, oh, well, if he doesn't pay for my bill, then he's never going to see me again. And honestly, I can kind of get that. And I actually put something on my page last night on Facebook.
I mean, if you're with someone too that's like, buy me, let's go get a Gucci bag or something on our second date, from that, that's a red flag too.
I say let's
obviously,
split.
But
Even if I go out on a date with the guy,
just man up and pay.
What was his name? Mr. Lexus. I said let's split it. Was that Mr. Lexus or was that the yachtsman guy? Yeah, let's.
And I would be like, yeah, that's
Mr.
cool,
Lexus
but just
wasn't.
pay.
No, Mr. Lexus was not the split it. Who was the other guy that I did last week? It was the don't park in my garage guy. I can't remember what his name was.
I was listening out on the way here where you jumped out of the car.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes, but to him, and that's why I said it was a $62 seafood tower, because to mark the price of it and say that it didn't seem to bother him splitting with me, he was still going to order a $62 seafood tower and didn't even care about the price, even though.
We went out to eat at some restaurant in Miami. I was with my wife and her friend, and it was like, everywhere is like, you got to know someone, and then it's like, here's your $1,600 bill for your steaks with a 20% tip added.
I know where you ate in Miami.
I don't know the name of it, and I'm like, unbelievable. The steak was okay,
Yeah.
but I'm like, come on.
It's crazy. There's some crazy places there for sure.
It was fun. It's always like a cool restaurant, and then the firework. You want the firework with a champagne bottle, the $2,000, $20 champagne bottle.
Right.
People are, yeah.
Were there any sides on the steak?
That's a good question. Yeah, it was, I think, mashed potatoes and like
Okay.
asparagus or
Okay,
something.
okay. Just wanted to make
It
sure.
was a good steak, but I don't know about like 1,800. Let's see, there was 3 of us that ate. Yeah.
Well, how do you
No,
feel?
no, it was like 2,200.
How do you feel about women paying for their, like, if you're just going out the first time? If you're going out with a girl
it's
the first
been so
time.
long for me. I would pay on my first date. I'm gonna pay. If she offered, I
Or
would think
what
that
if the
was cool. I'd be like, oh, that's cool. She's trying to care. She's not just. But I'm gonna pay. But I wouldn't look down on her like, how dare she? Now, if she's like, you'll never pay for me, I'm blah blah, and like totally something to prove or whatever, I'd be like, okay, that's cool, but I don't need like someone to protect me. I love the independence and all that, but like someone wanting to chip in, I would look at that as that's awesome. Like you're putting a gesture in, but I would still pay.
I would offer, but if they accept, then we're friends. That's the way I look at it. I would
If they
offer.
accept the offer,
If they would accept and say, sure, pay half. All right, thank you. Thank you. I'm not going out with you again. I'm not going out.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
On the first time.
I wouldn't accept
I'm
it.
talking about
Yeah,
the first time.
I
but
just-
if he does accept, that's
Yeah.
just, I mean, that's just something personal, you know. But if I'm invited out by a man, and
Unless
then
he's
he,
really trying to do it,
or
thinking that's
says,
like,
"Will you want to pay half?" If he says you want to pay half, that's happened to me too. Or
oh,
he says,
he asked.
I've been asked to pay half. I've also, well, I have a blog to read where I was
You
left
wanna
with the
pay
whole
half?
bill. I was left for the whole bill. Did I tell you about that one?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Did I tell that one already?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I mean, that's just a kid. That's just not a man. I could see my stupid 18-year-old drug dealer self doing something like that, and that's not the type of loser that anyone would have wanted to continue to have.
Well, why? What?
Yeah, that's a boy. That's
I
not a
always
man.
see it like
or a
this.
boy man. one
I
of
always
those
see it like this. Would my
30-year-olds living in their mom's
soulmate do that?
basement.
Because I'm looking for my soulmate.
Right?
So my question is always, would my soulmate do that? What are some funny things that have happened that I'm like, my soulmate would not do that? I can't think.
I don't know. I mean, even 17 years of marriage, you're gonna fight over some dumb stuff. But yeah, those types of things, like I just really feel like men, all these messages going out of like you shouldn't do this and don't work hard and blah 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 and you have to have perfect balance, and it's all crap. Like women still want a freaking man.
Yes, that's it.
Like,
that is
they want a
it.
man. They want to know, like, if a robber breaks in, is this dude gonna protect me or is he gonna
Exactly.
hide behind me? Like,
My thing
you
is
can
always-
brag like, oh, I'm so like woke that I'll let my women protect me, and it's like, all right, my word, you're a pussy. You're not woke. But I'm not allowed to say that on here. I don't know
Yeah,
any
go
other
ahead.
word to use for
I
it.
don't know.
But no, I mean, people act like that's a generational thing and all that, but I think it's a bunch of crap because the 2% of the noisy nonsense you hear on social media, like the 100% of it makes up like 2% of the population. So most real conversations are like what we're having now, but the loudest drama crap tends to get all the airway. Like we could say some stupid crap and you could edit it and have it go viral and just be haters and that people that just, it's like fear, like with the news, all the fear people, it's just like fear porn. And
Right.
now it's been like, don't be a man, don't blah, 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 and everyone offends everyone. And it's like 99% of people don't want that.
I don't want that.
And there's something about like being a man that also you feel good. Like it doesn't mean you're telling the women like you have to respect each other. So the way I look at it is like the man is the king, but the woman's the queen. So when you're married, so you're still the king, but you have to treat your wife like a queen.
Right.
So you're not a dictator. But
Right.
also you're the man. So when it comes for the really hard decisions and difficulties, is the person that I'm with as a man going to be able to man up and provide for me and protect myself and my children?
Exactly.
Because that's what women are looking for. They can say
Exactly.
they're not, and I don't believe them. It's
I don't believe
bullcrap.
anybody wants to be alone. I don't believe anybody wants to be alone.
And this whole I don't need any of that. It's just a front. That's the truth that I mean, we got some dudes in here younger. They could probably.
I've always said I'm an independent, strong woman,
Which
and
is-
I've had
which
I've
is
had
great.
to be
And
the
I'm
last
not
15
knocking
years.
that.
I've
Yeah.
been single.
I
was
respect
married
that.
for 17, and I never wanted to be independent. But you know what? I just want a man who's stronger than me.
Right. That's my point. It doesn't mean you don't want a woman that's like. You don't want a wife that is just totally helpless and only leeching off of you. You know, like where we in
Exactly.
Boca, where you'll see the 90-year-old dudes with the 20-year-olds or something like that. That's a different
I know
story
this
too. But
this reminds
they're
me
happy,
of a
that's
dating
cool.
profile I saw today that said that the guy reached out to me, but when I read his dating profile, it said that he was looking for someone who didn't want to work, that he could take care of. So then I'm thinking, well, geez, I just started this podcast. I kind of like it.
it
you
sounds
know?
tempting. I mean, sometimes
I
I'm
kinda
thinking
like the
man,
podcast. I mean, is this work?
I'm not into that, but I might even sometimes
kinda-
Steve and me, I could use a
kinda
dude
like-
to take care of me
I
for
kind
a
of like
while.
helping people reach their real estate goals, reaching people reach their health goals with the American Chiropractor Magazine. I mean, these are all things, are they work? I enjoy them all so much, So then I'm like, yeah, sure, I'd love to find a man and travel the world. Why not? Who wouldn't?
Right.
But do nothing at this point in my life besides that?
It is and also it is work when you're following from starting my own company, having books, doing what I'm passionate about. It's still work. You still have to work your butt off behind the scenes, and people don't see that side of it. So they see, I think the show before we were talking about some lady on a private jet or wherever. Like my friend I did a show with, we flew on a private jet just to the Bahamas the other day and stuff. But I'm not on there. So if I'm ever sharing that, I'm not like, I'm doing it like with my mugshot. Like I was in jail. I've worked my butt for 17
Yes,
years.
yes.
Plus, I'm still like last night I'm still in the grind. Like this is cool, but this like isn't everything. And I've
Exactly.
seen so many fake people that will do that and post it and give the worst advice to people about success. You can have it in 90 days. And I'm like, dude, shut up. Like, no. Like every person I know in my neighborhood,
Right.
my other friend I just had a meeting with last night started from nothing. He has $100 million company now. Value. He's 10 times away from being at $1 billion. And we're just talking, he's in jeans and a t-shirt. Like
Yeah.
he has a private, he doesn't, people that have it don't need to freaking talk about it unless it's part of your message or something.
I've got a couple guests coming up here soon, very soon, as soon as next week, that have become multimillionaires from nothing.
And it's hard work.
And it is hard work. And anybody who says it's not is lying. But you know what? I also think it's about doing something that you enjoy. And also, I think
Absolutely.
it's about giving back.
So true.
That you have to be doing something that makes you feel better, that you're helping the universe in some way. Don't you think?
I would have given up. So that's what keeps me going. So like having people depend on me, knowing I have a team. There's so many times where I would have been like, I'm throwing in the towel. This is too much. But when you're doing something like you said that's bigger than you, it's like I don't get to give up. Like this
Right.
isn't just
That's not
about
your
me.
choice.
and having that like does help motivate you through those hard and dark times.
Right.
But where people get it twisted, and this is where I come in, where the real talk is like you will have the hard and dark times
Right.
when you're going after your purpose.
Right.
That's going to be part of it. It's not just the highlight reels of the private jets and all that. It's
Exactly.
like you didn't see the 17 years it took just to be able to get to.
here,
And
right.
then when you're at that level, you still have to. You're at a way higher mountaintop.
Yeah.
And it's like the higher you are, the more weight, the bigger the fall can be. So you're
That's a good
responsible
point.
for so
That's a
much
good
more
point.
too. So you have to learn how to maintain it at each level along the way.
Great. Oh, great. Well, now maybe we should do the real estate minute.
Yes.
Dun-dun-dun-dun. Well, anyway, so this is just my own input, okay? Something that I came up with the other day on my own. After doing the research I always am doing about the real estate market, I came up with this. If you want to buy a new property, you either need to buy now with the high interest rates that have been way higher, and they may get higher, and then refinance when the rates come down, or you need to take the chance of having a surplus of people out there wanting to buy the same property as you, and then we're going to be back to where we were before. They're overbidding because of the housing prices that will skyrocket as soon as the rates do finally come down. Okay, you think the market is crazy now? Wait until the interest rates go down and then imagine the buyer frenzy. Okay, so send or leave me a message if you want me or someone from my team to give you a call about this. Please let me know what area you're in and what you're most interested in doing for help with all your real estate needs. Be sure to ask for Tracy Bush Page when you call Keller Williams Worldwide, 561-245-4000. Or my website, you can go and search your property that you're interested in. Put in there what you're interested in finding, or even a property that you've seen on the road and you want to find out a little bit about it at livingtracy, livingtracy.com. .kw.com. I'm sorry, livingtracy.kw.com. And Mark, please give your contact information so people know.
Wait, Keller Williams. Who's the CEO of Keller Williams again? Is it the dude that has a book?
Yeah.
The guy that works directly for him is one of my neighbors. He subcontracts him because I'm supposed to have him on my show. The CEO of. I'm the worst with names.
Oh my God! Now I'm just
like Jesus Christ could walk in right now and I'll screw his name.
Gary Keller.
Gary Keller. Yes, of
Gary
course.
Keller is.
You're gonna have Gary Keller on your show?
Yeah, I haven't. My neighbor works.
Is
so
it
he
Gary
works,
Keller or is it the guy under him?
A
guy under him.
No, Gary Keller's the one that would be.
Wow,
I think he's in
He's
Texas.
gonna be on your show?
Yeah, that's what we're working on.
Oh, the one in Texas is Mark Willis.
Mark Willis?
Yeah.
Maybe it's I don't know, the CEO.
Austin, Texas, Keller Williams, the world's largest residential.
Does he have a book?
That Mark Willis is the former CEO and a current franchisee.
Maybe it's him.
Yeah, I think.
His name's
Thank
Mark.
you, Ben. Saved by Ben. I was like, oh my gosh. It's like gun
Actually,
to my
yeah,
head.
good job,
Who is
Ben.
it? And I was like, oh my gosh,
I
now
knew
I
that.
can't remember.
Actually, I could use a Ben in my studio. But yeah, I mean, he's another person over 30-year overnight success.
Amazing, and
But
he does
there-
so much for everybody.
The leadership's cool there. I've heard the guy
Yes.
that lives with he has a lot of his own companies, but he works a lot with the leadership. And
Who does?
I don't know if he wants me to say his name or not. Actually, I won't even remember his name.
Here we go again.
He's a really cool guy. I've had him on my podcast, which is funny too.
Well, if you're a realtor out there
but
and you don't
they
know,
subcontract him for Keller
and
Williams
you don't know where
for-
to go for assistance or for education, because a lot of these realtors get their license and then they don't get any education on what to do with it. And Gary Keller has put up such a system where with Keller Williams we get the most education of any other.
And I'm not paid by Keller Williams. That's what he told
Yeah.
me. And he said that because they hire him, he has his own
And it's
company.
a family. They have conferences
Like, and I know
called
what he gets
Family
paid.
Reunion.
Yeah, and they'll invest to have like the great leadership. And then he said that he was telling him how they're so much into technology.
Yeah.
They're like, we're not just a real estate company, we're a technology company.
Yes.
And I'm like, man, I always love when people are like innovating and stuff.
It's
and
wonderful. It's such a great, when I first got into real estate, I thought, oh my gosh, like it had a kind of a bad rap. I don't know what you think, but
No, when you find a good, trustworthy realtor, I have you, but I've had one in Ohio I've worked with for years, and it's so important to have that good relationship.
yes. And if you're anywhere in the world, I have, like I said, a family of realtors that are the best with Keller Williams that I can just reach out to. I've met them at conferences. I know them personally. People that are in my team that I can refer you to that can help you buy the best property at the best price, because there is the best property out there for you at any time, okay? Doesn't matter whether the interest rates are high, doesn't matter if the home prices are high, because there's always good deals. You just have to have a good realtor out there keeping their eye on the market to find them for you. And if you are a realtor out there in search of a family that you want to get with, reach out to me as well, and I can help you. I'll find you the best family near you, okay?
Do you care if I ask you a business question? Are you seeing people? I'm just really curious from like owning my business mind. Are you seeing people with the interest rates? Because I think yesterday someone was getting a mortgage and it was at like going to be at 8.5%. I think it's at 7. They're about to have another. I just know I have a lot of stocks and stuff. But are they? I mean, it's a different world down here in Southern Florida, I guess. But are you seeing people having to get more creative with like incentives that are even to help people with the interest rates at like 8.5% when they were, when we were building our house, it was at like 2.5%.
Right now,
a couple
even
years
though
ago.
they're like if you say 8%,
Yeah,
that's surprising to me if it's up that high.
it's insane.
but because last I looked, it was just over 7%.
Right, but then the bank usually adds like a point or something.
Oh, it
on
depends
that.
on what bank you're going with, too,
Okay.
right? But the thing is, so you get your property at a good price, and you can always refinance. That's what I just said.
Right.
You can refinance, and then if the rates come down, which some think that they may, but I mean, if they do come down, like they may, then everybody's going to be out there looking for your house.
Right.
And you're going to have all these swarms of people looking for your house, and you're going to have to be bidding against these people, which is going to cause the price of the house to go up.
Especially here too, because there's so
That's
many
the
people
thing.
moving here.
It's like, what's better? It's better just if you're looking for a property, if you want to make a change in your life, get with a good realtor who can
Yeah.
help you scout out the best property for you. But you got to get pre-approved. If you're not paying cash, you got to be pre-approved before you even start looking at property. Because if you're seriously looking, you find a property for a great price. You're not
gotta
going
be
to
able to
get
make
it
a
unless
move.
you're
Yeah.
pre-approved, because while they're waiting for you to get pre-approved, someone else is going to snatch it up, right?
That's so right. And people that were like a year ago, it's like, okay, cool, but now the mortgage is going to be double, so just be prepared.
Yeah.
But you can still get good deals. I'm with you
Yeah,
on
I mean,
that.
but the rates used to be all the way up at like 17%.
I know.
You know, so like this that we're talking about is not even if on that scale,
This like wasn't bad at all
it's just
before.
that some people did get in when the rates were down at 2 or 3%. Okay, so they're sitting pretty, right? Maybe they don't want to make a jump right away, you know?
Right.
But there are always things you can do, always creative financing you can do. You know, reach out to me, reach out to your realtor, and if you don't have a realtor, reach out to me, and I can help find you the best one in your area.
That's awesome. I was just kidding. I'm not paid, like I said, by Keller Williams.
I know,
or
it's
anything.
like I didn't even give
I'm
him
just
the
having
script.
I'm used to having. Sorry, my phone's always off. I'm too used to having my show and being the one like asking the questions. I think.
You're like perfect. Let's feed him right into my hand. Like,
No, if you didn't know your stuff, you wouldn't have been able to just answer. I didn't have like pre-planned. We didn't have a conversation about
we
this.
have had one conversation which lasted 2 hours
Yes.
in his country club with his kids running around getting money for food and everything like
Yes.
this and everything like this. But it was a delight, and this was a delight too. I
Yeah,
mean,
this is awesome.
Yeah, is there anything more that you want to add? Do you think? I mean, you'd said something about the anxiety. What was that about?
Oh, I mean, I'll be happy to. And anyone listening, I mean, if you go to markmenard.org is my main page. It links to all the books, the podcasts, Dream Shine, all the social media, all that fun stuff. I'll love to connect with anyone, and I try my best to respond to the comments. There's so many different platforms these days. But I love it.
I'm
the
finding out now
interaction.
that my Facebook got hacked by one page. The good news is now I'm on TikTok. I'm like, I'm back on Twitter. You know, I'm like finding out
I
more
forget
ways
that
to
I
get
have
exposure.
my Facebook page, and then they wrote me that I'm supposed to be getting. I'm like, oh yeah, I still have a Facebook page, and that's been. It's weird what takes. I just keep sharing everywhere.
Yeah, that
They're
can't
supposed to
hurt.
be
I don't
paying.
think that can hurt.
I'm supposed to be getting
think
paid for that.
I think
for
sharing
something
is
on there.
good. You know, like when you have this knowledge and you hold it inside and don't let other people know what you're going through or what you've been through, they have to go through the same thing. They, you know, if we'd all share all the information with everybody and not be
Especially
so
good
worried about
information.
sharing it,
That's right.
not worried about our reputation or whatever, you know, people are worried about.
And when you do worry, I mean, speaking of anxiety, just know everyone. I have not. I mean, I'll be sitting like pre-show. I had 2 NFL players on, and one of them, I stopped it years ago. He broke down fully into tears, telling his backstory, and he was like shaking.
Wow.
And I cut the camera. I'm like, dude, I stopped. I like gave him a hug, and because he had crazy story of his parents, like, but you would see him and think, oh, this dude never gets nervous, never. And he was like really nervous to be on the podcast and stuff, and was like, played at OSU, full ride scholarship, played for the Chiefs. And behind the scenes, he's like, dude, I get so nervous. Like, and so I actually like pre-coached him before he was on the show. And I've had actors on my show that are amazing on, you see them
How
on
many years
camera.
have you been doing this?
8.
You've been doing it for 8 years.
So yeah, like when I had the cast from Breaking Bad, they just done a movie with Terrence Howard. RJ Mitty, who was like Walter White Jr. So I was talking to him. What I love is the same correlation with all of them. They work their butt off for years and years and years and years and years to get successful at their craft.
Doesn't come easy.
But some of them, when it came to talking without like a script, they're freaking more nervous than me. And I'm thinking in my head, like, dude, I just watched you on that show last night. And like, you were so on point. And right now, like, you're more nervous than I am. And that gives me like hope. Like, okay, I'm not like, we're all a mess. So get over yourself and just post whatever you got. If you think it's going to help people.
Do you know what your listener base is? Like how many listeners or how many, well, you said downloads you have.
Well, we've had a total,
million?
it's probably
is that
like.
your list? Like, I'm just like wondering
no, not
what
per
that's gonna
show.
look like.
That's been total. No, it's probably like 35,000 per show. But
like on YouTube, that little clicker would say 35,000.
On all the audio, we just started adding everything onto YouTube. Yeah, I don't know. I took way too long to focus on our YouTube, which I love the video stuff too. The YouTube has the least amount of traction depending on the guests. Like I've had some on there that have had hundreds of thousands, some with 200. But I've learned to not get so caught up on that. But our full podcasting numbers averages like in the 30,000s per episode. That's not including like streaming on Facebook. And if you were to add everything up, it would be more. But
well, I find this guy completely fascinating. I hope you did too.
There's his website. I just wanted to pull that up for you.
Oh, good.
Mark
Thank
Menard
you.
Right
Thank
here.
you.
That's awesome.
It's .net.
Oh my God,
See,
that's
Ben
hilarious.
Is so good.
Thank you, Ben.
So good,
Dude,
he?
I really need a Ben. MarkMenard.net. That's so funny. Yeah. I've only done like 285 shows and been a guest on probably like over 300. And I don't even know my own webpage.
I was looking for it everywhere. .org. I'm like .org and .org and
.net.
.net.
Our other one's Dreamshine.net. Mark, I wonder how many times I've said that wrong on shows. That's hilarious.
Well, I want to remind you to please like, subscribe, share my podcast. If you post underneath it, I think that gives me some more help with the algorithm because I'm just trying to reach as many people as I can. Yeah, especially since I've gotten this little punch in the face from I don't know what. I felt like I was fighting the devil this week, honestly, because I feel like the devil's trying to challenge me. Because
every time you are going to face a new level, it always happens.
That's what someone called and told me.
It's a sign that you're going to another level.
That's what someone called and told me. She said, Tracy, that's what's happening to you.
When all hell breaks loose, it's a sign.
She said, you are doing so well. She said that they're trying to bring you down. They're trying to stop my Being Tracy Facebook page that was reaching 6 million, over 6 million. And I had 44,000 followers, and they're trying to ruin my reputation and blah, blah, blah by putting these horrible pictures up that I would never allow. I'm a mother of 4 kids. I was getting messages every morning. I still am at like 3 or 4 in the morning. These horrible pictures, porno pictures. They just look terrible.
Yeah, they'll hack the account. Every time when you go out of your comfort zone to each new level, there's a book called The Alchemist. I love it. It's like everything in life tests you. And I've learned for every new level, and I'll come home to my wife and be like, oh my God, this is happening. She's like, Mark, you're the one that always tells me, like, you're about to open like 4 other parts of your business. You're going to a new level. And I'm like, damn it.
Exactly.
I'm like, oh yeah, I did say that.
Growth.
I love when I get punched in the face with my own quotes, but it holds you accountable.
Yesterday,
I'm like,
I was
what idiot said that? She's like, you. I'm like, oh crap.
Yesterday, I was calling the church. I thought on Sunday, I saw my priest, and he had such a good message, and I thought, I've got to get him in my podcast. I've got to get this guy in at my podcast because you know what?
That'd be cool.
I got to fight the devil, and what's the best way to fight the devil? I'm like, I'm minding business. The devil does not know what he's up against. And then my friend said, "You're getting stronger and stronger and stronger." I said, "You better believe it."
That's right.
I said, "This stuff is
and
making
when you
me
can
stronger
see
and stronger."
those and it's a lot of the little crap. I know where like your page gets taken. It's all the annoying million little things that are big things.
Yes.
I had a good friend that his name's Billy Carson. I've had him on the show. Forbidden Knowledge, good friend of mine, lives in my neighborhood. Insane fun. He had 1 million subscribers on YouTube at one time. They totally just yanked his channel. Now he has like 27 channels with millions. But he went like 4 years. He's like, F this. But he went back, and now he's stronger than ever.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing your message. And I'd love to have you again. I think that you're a jewel. You've been a blessing in my life for sure.
Oh, it's been an honor. I love coming here.
Thank you.
It's awesome being at the studio, too.
Yes, thank you. And so please tune in next week. We go live with the videos, or what do we do? Is that what you say? Do we go live with the videos, or we go action with the videos?
We upload the videos.
We upload the videos every Thursday, bright and early, 5 a.m. You can find them on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever your favorite podcasts are shown. Please check it out. Okay? Thank you. And do you want to say anything else?
I need a bend. Man, I had it set up for years I've had it. I had an awesome bend before. And
He's like, we were out of time, but we'll keep listening now.
I need a bend that can help me with all my stuff and jump in like that. That's fantastic.
Thanks,
but no,
guys.
everyone, just have an amazing day or night wherever you are in the world. God bless.
Sending you lots of